Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your main man, Juggernaut of Multi-Platinum Production Team.
Arkatech Beatz.
Yo, shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D. It is the music production and beat making live tutorials, man. I'm on late tonight. I keep trying to get on between 9 and 10, but you know, life be lifing. And I do the best that I can to get on this thing on the daily. Every day we get together and we cook up. We cook up some of the nicest stuff that you'd have ever seen in your life. Cook up some of the hottest beats. Man, I'm telling you, it really be crazy. So make sure you're sticking around. Make sure you're hitting the likes, the comments, the notifications, the subscribe, all the other good stuff, because you definitely don't want to miss these, man. You know, we really be cooking up. And at the same time, I'm answering questions about anything and everything in the music business. Again, I'm a multi-platinum producer. I work with everybody in the game, the icons. You know, the best of the best in the music business. 25 years of collective experience in here, so I'm able to answer your questions as it relates to anything as it relates to the music business. Just make sure you're dropping it into the chat. You know what I mean? And let's get started tonight on this thing. Let's go. So every night I get a loop. I dig, and I dig, and I dig, and I look for loops. Because I'm a sample-based producer, I really like to do that. You know, that's my thing. My weapon of choice, of course, is the Akai MPC X Special Edition. I need you to pay attention, you know, as we go through everything. And as we're working this. Like I said, if it's your first time here, man, make sure you're following. Make sure you're subscribing. Hit the notification so when I go live, you know exactly what's going on. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with me night after night. I'm telling you, man, 64 days straight with the live streaming. I like this sample, man, because it has the bells. And it got that little bass in it. We won't try to bring all that stuff out. Shout out Richie Mays, man. What up, brother? All right, now we're gonna get busy now. Get the hi-hats down. It's a 4-bar loop. Let's go. Name the track. This is the hat. Nothing too crazy. We're gonna name this the open hat right here. If you know how I construct my music, that's how we normally do it. Shout out to everybody that's in the live, man. Let's go. Let's add the open hat in. Let's go. Make sure y'all liking the live, man. Sharing the live. It helps the algorithm, man. Hitting the like button. Sending the roses help the algorithm. Let's go. Let's get that down. I'm gonna put a tambourine in it. Let's go. Let's go. Go add the snare. Let's go. Watch where we go with this one. Real simple. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Don't like that. Try it again. One more time. I'm slow tonight. What's happening? I don't like that. What's going on? Better. All right, let's get this Getty up in here. Let's go. Get rid of that, and we're gonna get rid of that. Let's go. We're gonna add an 808 in this. Everybody that's in the live, man. We're gonna add a 808. We're gonna go sub factory. It's pretty solid. What up? Why not set it to the key the sample is in? It is in the key. Remember, 808 has a little bit of tail, so sometimes 808 will start at one key and then finish at another. To be clear. Listening to it, right? Now remember, I'm using the plugin, right? So I don't have to normally, it's not a sample 808, right? This is a plugin. So this is not a, this is a VST from Akai. So how I normally get my stuff to be in the same tune is I normally put my scale and octave to match what the sample is in, and then what it helps me to do is it helps me to easily find the notes, right? So I'm not tuning an individual bass note for those who are watching, okay? Just to be clear. So I'm not using an individual 808 sound. I'm using a factory sound that's in the sub bass. It's a VST called sub factory. That you have to, that's from Akai. Bring the velocity down a little bit. Bring the volume down a little bit. let's go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna double the sequence. We're gonna make it 8 bars. But before we do that, we're gonna make sure that our sample is playing for 8 bars. Right now we got to loop it at 4. And normally I just start with the 4 bars because it's easier to program, and then we just copy everything into the next 4 bars. So how do I get the 808 to sit under the kick drum like that? 1, pick the right kick. That's the first thing. Second thing is pick the right 808. The third thing is making sure that we level them off the right way. You have to realize that there are going to be some 808s and some kicks that really don't go together. They clash, right? So it's going to give us different frequencies. It's going to, some of them are going to muddy up your stuff, right? So what I like to do is I like to choose a particular 808 that's basically kind of sits under the bass line. You know what I mean? And if you're listening in certain speakers, it just kind of accentuate what the bass line is already doing.
Things that we go through is what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through is what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through is what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. Go through is what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the tired of the heartbreak.
Pay attention.
For all of the things that we go through.
Let's go.
It's what I get for loving you.
Yeah.
Tired of the heartache.
It's Arkatech Beatz, baby.
Tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
Richie Mays. Yo, Rich. Yo, Rich. Yo, Rich, listen. Rich, Free Society Beats. Y'all was here last night, right? Listen, y'all was here last night. So look, I'm going to save this because I got to save it, right? I got to save this, and I'm going to call this, I don't know, Gift for Loving You, right? And I gotta play you something, Richie. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the live, man. Gift for Loving You. Listen, man. For those who was in here last night, man. Last night was a nice night. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Rob Mully in the building. Listen, last night was a nice night, man. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta play y'all. I gotta play. Because after the live, sometimes after the live ends, I can't sleep. And that's the thing that's just crazy to me. Sometimes I can't sleep, so I'll be up, right? So because I was up, I started playing around with the track that we was working on last night. You know what I'm saying? So I started playing with it. So then it started morphing into something else. You know what I'm saying? Right. Stuff started changing. It started going crazy. Right. So for those who wasn't here yesterday, this is what we had yesterday. Right? Right?
Arkatech Beatz.
I remember, right? 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 Y'all remember that from last night, right? Thumbs up in the chat if you remember that from last night. Okay. So, every now and again I turn into a villain. Every now and again I turn into an evil genius. And I have to do something that's just, I got to do something to make it just go different. All right? So listen. If y'all got a Bluetooth speaker, I know it's late. Now is the time to turn it up. If y'all got headphones, now is the time to turn it up. If you're in the car, now it's time to drive fast. All right? This is where the live takes a different turn. And if you're listening just on your cell phone, it's just not going to do you no justice, okay? But if you're on your cell phone and that's all you got tonight, turn it all the way up and let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
From the first time we met, I didn't
Fire vibes. Let's go. Summertime. Listen, yo, shout out to everybody that was in the live last night when we cooked up that beat. You witnessed something real special last night. And for those of y'all are not tuning in every night, man, to really see what's happening and how we cooking this thing up, we are cooking this thing. You heard? We cooking this thing. We absolutely flaming this thing, man. Like for real, we're setting the world on fire. Track by track, like y'all gonna see it. You know what I'm saying? Just give it a chance to marinate and do what it need to do. But I had to play that for you, bro. Like for real, I had to play that for y'all because, like last night after you know the live, we was on live for maybe like 2 hours 30 minutes last night, and I'm like, I'm listening to this joint last night. And I'm like, man, this joint going, man. And you know how we already had like the vocal. Like we already had like, you know what I'm saying? Like we had the background vocals for the hook, right? So it was already there. So I'm like, okay, the background vocals already there. Like I gotta get a song on this. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I do what I does. I do what I does. I get it cooked up. And I'm like, damn, this is good. I said, all right, I gotta import it. And I'm like, it goes perfectly. Like everything is in tune and harmony. I'm like, all right, we going now. So now I'm in here just dancing last night. I'm dancing last night. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. It's really crazy. Like it's amazing some of the stuff that we be making in here night after night. It's nutty, man. It's crazy, man. Yo, shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that's joining into the live, man. If you're in here late, man, listen, you missed a treat, man. I'm telling you. Missed a treat. Y'all missing a treat. Yeah, we want some feel good music, man. Like, you know, that's really the main thing. And I was trying to tell people, like honestly, like, remember, for those who are a little bit older, man, music used to be the soundtrack of our lives, man. You know what I'm saying? And we got away from that. But I also believe that a lot of that is because we grew up during that music, the real music video era. You know what I'm saying? The 106 in Park and the video music box if you from the East Coast, and you know the Yo MTV raps and everything. And like we used to always take a song and we would always, you know, mold it together with how a visual would look. Yo, listen, we got a few joints, man, like for real. But we want to make the joints feel good again, man. You know what I'm saying? Get that music to feel good again, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing like having a dope, you know, female vocalist on something, man. Like, and yo, somebody in the chat was saying, yo, man, look at the right female MC on it. Now that would be sick. Guitar going crazy.
Arkatech Beatz.
From the first time we met,
we got to go back to what we was working on. Listen, man. That's a good week. That's a good week, man. It's a good way to end the week, man. I'll tell you that. Flow so smooth called butter on toast. Nickel played it. What up? Thanks for joining the live, yo. We're here every night, man. We're here every night, man. Richie Mays, we're here every night, man. I appreciate you, man. Bass player, I see you, man. Andre, I see you, man. Bodie, I see you. Kaz, I see you. MD3, I see you. You know what I mean? We're here every night, man. We just trying to get better. Do what we do and get better. Get better, right? Yeah, gotta get better. Every night we try to get better. Can you do a drum only beat? You struggle with your drums, mainly the kick. Can I tell you something? If you're a person that struggle with your drums, right? Use loops, man. I ain't gonna hold you. Don't let that hold you back. Cameron, 2K. Yeah, if you're struggling with the drums, use loops, man. Like, for real. Like, don't not. John Blaze, what up? Yo, John Blaze, did you just hear the record I played, man? Did you just hear it? Or you just coming in? Oh, damn, you didn't hear it? I gotta let you hear it, bro. I'm sorry. I gotta let you hear that, bro. I can't. Listen, these are special supporters here now. I gotta make sure that they're hearing what we worked on. You know, we worked on the joint from last night. So after the live was over, I had to get busy with it last night. But yeah, man, Cameron, listen, man, if you're struggling with the drums, man, typically what I tell folks to do is to use loops, man. Like, use loops. First you use the loops, right? Get used to using the loops. Then you take the MPC and then you chop those drums up. And then you replay the loop. So what you try to do is you try to reprogram you try to reprogram the loop for the drums that you just got. You know what I'm saying? And then once you kind of get used to that, then you start to understand the dynamics of how you're chopping your drums. Typically, if your drums aren't sounding right, it depends on the sounds. Maybe the sounds are not ending right, not starting right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to start learning. We have to start learning how to truncate waves for drums. That was our biggest problem before when we were programming drums outside of a drum machine. When we were programming drums outside of the drum machine, we were like, man, why I don't sound good? It's quantized right. Why it's not sounding right? It's because our starts and our endpoints are not accurate, or something is wrong with our start point. Maybe the start point is too short or too long. There's too much air in front, too much air behind, and that's part of the reason why I tell folks, use drum loops first. If you're not really good with programming, drums, bro, do not be afraid of using drum loops, bro. Use drum loops, man. Don't let that stop you from making any music, bro. I'm telling you. Don't let people sit here and tell you something that's crazy. You got plenty of guys that you're going to see on camera using drum loops. Okay? Prominent guys at that, too. Don't sleep. I'm running it back right now, John. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
crazy, bro. I can't. It's going crazy right now, bro. It's like it's going crazy right now. We're gonna go back to what we was working on. It's crazy right now, man. I had to play that for the folks that was here last night. Yeah, man, we got kits available, arkatechbeatz.com, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, I'm not sampling anything that I gotta clear no more. I'm not sampling nothing that I gotta clear no more, bro. Those days is over, man. Them days of sharing my publishing is over. Royalty free, royalty free, royalty free, royalty free. I will say it till I am blue in the face. Yo, Juan, what's up, man? Buy better kits, man. Yeah. And really, like, honestly, man, like I tell folks all the time, yo, take the drums, put the drums into your system, replicate the drums, man. Like, this is the only way. You gotta deconstruct your favorite music. It's the only way you're gonna get better. Like, that's the reality of the situation. If you don't deconstruct your favorite music, you're not gonna know what it took to build that recipe, man. It's like us trying to make a cake. You know what I mean? We gotta figure out how much eggs go into that joint, how long gotta be in the oven. We gotta put butter in that, you know, milk. What we gotta put in there? Do we gotta spray the pan? Do we gotta grease the pan? What we gonna do to get the right crust? Like, you gotta figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So when we say that we cooking for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much temperature is gonna be on that? How long we gotta leave that in the oven? How long we gotta cook for? You know. So it's definitely a process of taking your favorite music and deconstructing it. Figuring out the tempo, figuring out the swing, figuring out where the snares is landing. Is it landing right on the bar, on the grid? Is it slightly off the grid? You know what I mean? Does it have a little bit of air in the front of the snare? Is there a little bit of air after the snare? These are the things that we have to pay attention to. We're producers. If we're producers in this game, we have to be nuanced, and we have to figure that stuff out. They're dependent on us to bring music back. For all my producers in here. You know what I'm saying? They're dependent on us. They're dependent on us to make sure that we're doing the right thing here with this music.
Go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand the thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
I'm telling you, like, and I'm gonna tell you a joke, right? See how that, you know how see how that music was like. If you listen to that beat by itself, you be like, man, that's all right, right? It's kind of basic. Then when we had the vocal on, it's like, now you start seeing where it could really go. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I feel like it's really important if you can really get with folks that could, you know, that are good writers around, you know what I'm saying? Because it brings a different element to what your music can actually become. You know what I'm saying? Getting it to the right artist is like, it's paramount, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like magic, you know what I'm saying? It could take the ordinary track or a track that was just basic and make it just go, just through the roof, you know what I mean? And if you get the right vocalist and it's sultry and it's nice and it's like, You know what I'm saying? You know, make you want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like it just kind of, it just depends on how you want to see how this story how to work. You know what I mean? But it's like, this is the nuances of making this music. You know what I'm saying? This is the things that we have to pay attention to. You know what I mean? These are the things that we're trying to bring into the fold. And this is the stuff that I'm trying to demonstrate to y'all while we're here night after night. It's like, listen, it's like, we could take something that sounds basic and then we can move it into something that doesn't sound basic, that actually sounds extraordinary. You know what I mean? Like, and that's part of the situation. It's kind of me making you say, hey, listen to this how it was. Listen how we constructed it. And now when we put some extra sauce on it, now listen to it. It's like, oh shit, that just turned into a hit. Yeah, like that's how it go. You know what I mean? Like that's how it worked. You know what I'm saying? Listen, there are tools now to help with the writing gap. Listen, the breath control on the vocalist is what makes it really, it humanizes it, bro. Be careful, folks. I'm telling y'all, be careful what it is. Shout out to all the new folks that's in the live, man. Shout out to everybody that's liking the live, sharing the live. I know I'm on late tonight, man. I didn't really want to get on so late, but it's just like Sunday, you know what I mean? So Sunday, so you know, had to do the Sunday family thing today again, you know. More family time, you know. Just, you know, food hall and this and that, and go here and take me here, get some bubble tea. This is not an endorsement, but it's just, you know, the stuff that you got to do with your kids, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I try to get that family time, man. And then I try to get out here late, cooking up too late, and then my schedule is twisted because now it's kind of like I'm playing. Listen, I could play Sunday Drive, right? Right. It was Sunday yesterday, so I was playing the Sunday Drive. You know what I mean? So it's all a great situation, man. But this week now, I want to kind of dig into try to give y'all a play-by-play for this week. I'm going to start plotting out what I want to do with some of these live streams to kind of give y'all stuff to look forward to. We're going to be trying to stretch into a little bit of different genres. And then also, I got a few things happening as far as like on the business side that I want to really just kind of be transparent about in terms of like, you know, how those things are being negotiated, et cetera, not being too, you know, just trying to give people some game so they understand, like, listen, this is what you need to look out for when you're doing this type of deal or when you're doing that type of deal. It's like, there are just a lot of layers to this stuff that I want to make sure that people are being privy to. And, you know, it's a lot of games that get played, and I don't want you guys to have to go through games being played if you can be armed with some information. He says, better than taking them into school. Ugh. I ain't gonna hold you, man. Listen, man. School is necessary for parents' mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, God bless the educators, man. Y'all are a special bunch. Take care of other people's kids. Whew. It's crazy. When I hear like the bells on this, it just reminds me of like something that DJ Premier would sample.
Go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache. It's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together.
Do that. We're gonna make it into we're gonna use a slow string first. Trying to make it sound better. Wrong. Let's go again. Bendy string. That's not doing what I wanted to do. Let's get that string in there real quick. Let's try to get back the vocal in it real quick. Let's see how that sounds.
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together.
Controller working on Twitch, man. I appreciate you.
The things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you.
Let's go.
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Tired of the of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
MD3, what you think? Simplicity of this record. When I bring Homegirl in,
go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
Let's go.
Never will we fight again.
Never again.
Always thought we'd be just friends.
Just friends.
Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see.
What?
Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the heartache.
My pen is crazy. Let's go.
For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache. Tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
Listen, sometimes less is more, man. Like, I think when we're dealing with primarily hip hop production, it doesn't require that much. Now, when we're going into hip hop R&B, right? Technically, you should do more. I know people are gonna, don't crucify me in the comments. You should do more. There should be more variation. There should be more change. We should be looking for something to change everywhere for every 8 bars. There's supposed to be something changing, right? Because this is the only way that you're going to really maintain the engagement of the listener. You have to. It's like, think of it like a roller coaster. You got to take them on a ride, right? And you got the highs and the lows. You gotta work them through this record, right? And I want you to pay attention to the records now that get the critical acclaim and or Grammys. Those records are always going to have more instrumentation and musicianship. If it doesn't have that, then you typically won't win, right? And those are the things that you got to kind of pay attention to. And I say typically, right? So if you take, for example, Good Kid, Mad City versus The Pimp a Butterfly, you know and I know that Good Kid, Mad City is a better album, but it doesn't win the Grammy, right? What wins the Grammy is the musicianship, funk-inspired, blues-inspired, hip-hop fusion, The Pimp a Butterfly. You see what I'm saying? So you got to kind of think in this kind of vein, you know what I mean? Like, the musicianship is what kind of gets people to believe, from the Academy, of course, that, that it's quote-unquote superior. So when we're producing these type of things, you have to just kind of understand the genre that you're producing for. If we doing gutter Grammy hip hop, you don't require much. You know what I'm saying? It kind of requires, you know, a very dark groove that repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. You know what I'm saying? When we start doing R&B now, we have to start making different changes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so we have to start kind of being in the middle and understanding, you know, just the differences, right? There are things that do remain the same. Like structurally, they do remain the same. If you can produce one style of music, typically you can produce them all if you really put your ears to the street. You know what I mean? And if you're really trying. I think a lot of us don't really try. You know, so we just get kind of caught in our lane and say, this is our lane. We're not doing nothing else. You know what I mean? So that's just one of the things that I'm looking at. Double this up, and then we're going to
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
Could you imagine Sade, son? Could you imagine that? Could you just imagine that? Could you imagine a Sade, bro? Crazy, bro. Can you imagine that? Y'all gotta realize how old I was when Sweetest Taboo came out, bro. Like I was. I gotta make sure I come out early on a Sunday night, man. I know people gotta go to work the next morning.
It's a lonely time for me as I see this woman that I used to love and she don't love me. Every time when I wanna be with her for her embrace, man, I'll tell you that this woman just laughs in my face. She's a cold, cold woman. She's a cold woman. She's a cold, cold woman. She don't care about you no more, cold woman. She's lying to my face, cold woman. Oh.
I know a lot of y'all thought this was just a hip hop live stream. Go house, go something. Listen, man. I know y'all thought it was a hip hop live stream, man. But we do it all here.
It's a lonely time for me as I see this woman that I used to love and she don't love me.
Let's go.
Every time when I wanna be with her for her embrace, man, I'll tell you that this woman just laughs in my face. She's a cold, cold woman. She's a cold woman. She's a cold, cold woman. She don't care about you no more. Cold woman. She's lying to my face. Cold woman. Oh.
Cold woman, cold house, cold dinner. She's a cold sinner. She don't talk to me, don't walk with me. I don't know why I keep hearing like AT Aliens, Big Boy on it or something. It's weird. They don't make music like that anymore. What else we got in here? What else we got in here? What else we got in here? Before we get out of the live. We let people get some rest. They gotta go to work in the morning. It's a cold, cold woman. Wild.
Said I should stay at home and think about the way you broke my heart, but I won't. I'm not crying over you in my hotel room. I'm on a plane to somewhere nice. I'm not thinking about you. You're the one thing I don't want, not a thought in my mind. No, I'm not thinking about you. Said I should think about how we could.
That's different too, you know what I mean? It's different. It is different. I ain't gonna hold y'all. That is different. That's different. But I think my favorite is gonna be Dream Come True. Kaz, I appreciate you, brother. I think my favorite is gonna be Dream Come True. If I had to guess.
see you, when I see you walking in the room, it's like a dream. Can't believe I'm talking to you, it's like a dream. The way you smile, the way you move, it's like a dream. I just hope I wake up with you. It's like a dream come true, dream come true, dream come true.
The likes help the algorithm.
It's like a dream come true.
TikTok don't give anything for likes.
Dream come true. It's like a dream come true, dream come true, dream come true. It's like a dream come true, dream come true, dream come true. The way you move, the way you groove, it's like a dream. You are the only one I wanna choose. It's like a dream. When I lay down next to you, it's like a dream. It's like a dream. It's like a dream. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. When I see you walking in the room, it's like a dream. Can't believe I'm talking to you. It's like a dream. The way you smile, the way you move, it's like a dream. I just hope I wake up with you. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Dream come true. Dream come true.
It's like a dream come true, man. Being on live every night. It's like a dream come true, man. It's like a dream come true, man. I want to tell everybody thank y'all for coming out. Who do I see hopping on this? It depends, man. Honestly, I would like to make sure that we can take the song and have somebody redo it. Like, that's the right way to do it, is to get, somebody that's established and, let them jump on that and let them do what they got to do with it. You know what I mean? That's the smart way. Now, if it doesn't work that way, then, you always have the option to do it yourself. You know what I mean? But, you got to move it around and you got to see it's timing, man. You got to see who's working on what. Has a lot to do with timing, budget, virality, resources, visuals. You know what I'm saying? What happens if A. Marie doesn't walk through the neighborhood with the poom poom shorts on during the summer? Like, does the video still hit as hard? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think about that, you know what I'm saying? If Beyonce doesn't turn around and pop the bubble gum, you know what I'm saying? Like, does the video hit as hard? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta, it's timing, man. It's like a combination of everything. Some things hit, some things don't hit, you know what I mean? You just got to pay attention to stuff, man. Sometimes things really hit, you know what I'm saying? If DMX doesn't do Get At Me Dog in the tunnel in black and white, does it hit? It don't hit, you know what I'm saying? If Mobb Deep don't got the Hennessy cups with the jerseys on looking crazy, like, does it hit? Like, you know what I mean? So you gotta marry the two. It gotta be timing. It gotta have all of that. I did say Poom Poom Shorts, right? That's the A. Marie video. Why did we fall in love? She was like, show off her legs. You know what I'm saying? So, she natural attribute. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yo, what's that? What's that record? If you was a New Yorker when that record came out, you're like, yo, what is that? And it's like, cause it's kind of offbeat. It's like, what is that? And then when she came out with the video, it's like, oh man, this is a summer song. You know what I'm saying? Like, perfect timing, summer song. You know what I mean? If they have the right timing, man, it could kill a record, man. So it's a lot that goes into it. So I don't know who it goes to. Me and Mike, we sit down and we talk about that stuff. We talk about who stuff goes out to. Who you think it should go to. It don't normally happen. You know what I'm saying? Because real talk, Max B's record was for Jim Jones. We was bringing that record to Jimmy. That beat CD was supposed to go to Jimmy. It just never got to him. You know what I'm saying? The rest is history. So you don't know what's in the cards for you sometimes.
Arkatech Beatz.
Y'all was here last night. Y'all know what it is. Hero, what up, bro? I had to add some extra sauce to this one. Let's go.
From the first time we met, I didn't know
Shout out to everybody that's in the live, man. I'm telling you. You can imagine how excited I was once I laid this down last night. And this is after being on live for 2.5 hours. So I don't even remember what time we finished last night. All I remember is that I didn't probably hit the sack until about like 4 or 5 a.m., give or take. So I was like, okay. Because I just kept playing this thing over and over again. Like I was playing it. I'm like, damn. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. This felt good, you know what I'm saying? So it's always good when it feels good. Shout out to everybody that's in the live, man, and shout out to everybody that liked the live, shared the live. MD3, I think he was asking me what does TikTok give you for the likes. Man, nothing that I see. But if you do get gifts, that's cool. But likes don't really, like, gifts are like super chats on YouTube. So YouTube has super chats. TikTok has gifts, and those can be measured as monetary rewards, which your supporters. And a lot of times what TikTok uses, let me tell you, TikTok uses the gifts, which is like the roses and all that other stuff, to determine how good your stream is. You know what I'm saying? If your stream is good, they feel like if your stream is good, then one, you're going to get a bunch of likes, and then two, you're going to get a bunch of gifts. You know what I'm saying? They said that's how they determine if they're going to take your live now and they're going to put it on the For You page. And that's the thing. So when I'm like, yo, hit the like button, is so that it can get it more traction in terms of being getting more eyes. And so that they can find, like-minded people like ourselves that are basically doing this music thing and, having fun with it at the same time, and people who are out here trying to learn and get better, But for the last week, we've been doing a lot of vocal stuff. Not too much hardcore rap stuff, even though I had some things that I worked on earlier in the week that we needed to do because, again, I have to make sure that I'm supporting my core demographic, and my core demographic is definitely that. You know what I'm saying? So, have to always feed. You gotta feed the beast, and then once the beast is fed, then you can kind of venture off. But you gotta always make sure you come back home and do what you do best. And it's not that you're trying to be relegated to a box, but you're just trying to make sure that you can do what you gotta do.
Arkatech Beatz.
That's called snub nose. For those who know what a snub nose is, I digress. If you don't know what it is, I digress. You got to make sure that you understand the street vernacular that sometimes is embedded into this music. Sometimes I can't help it. I'm just a product of my environment. Although I have evolved. And I want people to realize that I have evolved. I am not the same, But, shout out to Jim Jones. Shout out to Jim Jones, man. You're having a hell of a week, brother. I really hope the rage bait is worth it, man. Like sometimes you can see a person that's rage baiting, and I hope it's worth it, man. Because I'm telling you, man, I don't know if it's worth it, man. El Fresco, yes. I've produced on all the Big Punch projects before he passed away. Big Pun is my first placement in the music business. Capital Punishment. That's the first one. You know what I mean? That we did. Yep, we did that. We did Terror Squad. We did the second album. Yeah, baby. We did Leatherface on that one. We went on from there to go do Raekwon, live from New York. The Table, Casablanca, Jury. It's Not a Game featuring RZA. The Table featuring Master Killer. American Cream Team. We went on from there. From Raekwon, we did Prodigy and Mobb Deep, Nas, Self-Conscious, Kids in the PJs with Nas and the Bravehearts, Nas, My Worst Enemy, Nas, Blackness. Then we went on from that to do The Game, Never Be Friends. What else? Obi Trice, Maya. Then we started going down south. So we did a little Scrappy, Shorty Low, Waka Flocka, Alley Boy, Sci-Hi the Prince, Freddie Gibbs. So a lot of stuff. Been around the block a few times. Jadakiss. Called Let Me Out.
Arkatech Beatz.
Me out. Let's go. This one's called Sweet Revenge. I'm just playing beats now, you know what I'm saying? I think we did our work for tonight. So now I'm just playing stuff for people who may have missed previous live streams. We did these all in previous live streams. If you need to check out some previous live streams. They're on YouTube. You can always check out the previous ones. Make sure you're copying the books at arkatechbeatz.com. Drum kits, etc. How do I add more bars to my finished arrangement on the Live 2? I have 32. But it's too short, and I want to make it 64, but I can't figure it out. What you want to do is this, bro. Say, for example, I'm here, right? Right? You want to press this. You want to press that pen button, and you're gonna see it here. It's gonna say sequence your edit. You could delete bars, insert bars. You can make it half the bars, or you can double the length. You press the double the length, it'll go from 32 to 64 bars. Boom. You ain't gotta worry about it. Hope that helps. Y'all ready? This joint is called Sweet Revenge.
Arkatech Beatz.
Spitter on this one. Need the right spitters on these, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you don't get the right spitter, it's gonna fall flat. And that's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the right one, man, sheesh. It sounds crazy. This one says freedom. I don't remember how it sounds. Different joints, man. Get ready to wrap up the live, man. If y'all got any questions, man, I'll take a few questions before I jump off the live. Remember, ask me anything as it relates to the music business. I'll answer them questions, man, as best as I can. Get back to the drum we was working on earlier. Before we jump out of the live. We're going to be back here tomorrow, hopefully between 9 and 10 o'clock. That's the goal. I'm going to aim for that time. Just hope that life don't be lifing, you know what I mean?
Arkatech Beatz.
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, the things that we go through. This what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together.
I think what I want to start trying to do is have the vocalist, one verse from the vocalist, and then the rest of it being the rapper. What y'all think?
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
Ashkin on YouTube is asking, he's saying that he has some underdogs that he'd like to promote, but you don't have enough clout, or you don't think that I have enough clout. Let me tell you how that works. And I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you what. Two vocal verses, right? One rap verse, right? See, that's the thing, right? Because then it will become what? More of a rap song versus an R&B song. Kind of want it to be able to go either way, if that makes sense. You know, kind of have equal time on it. You know what I'm saying? Because the hook is already dominated by the vocalist. So, just something to think about. But this is what I believe, and you know, y'all can, you know, get ready to kind of clip this if y'all need to clip it, because this is what I think cats should be doing. You know, and I know everybody got monthly expenses, right? So whether that be Netflix, whether that be Hulu, you know what I'm saying, DoorDash, whatever it is that you like to do, Jordans every month, coffee, Starbucks, whatever. I think the same way that we spend the money on the Starbucks or whatever like that, stuff like that, we should be running paid ads on our accounts. The key here is that you're supposed to make a piece of content, or you make something. You're supposed to keep making content, and if you have a piece of content that does well, say for example, you know, you got a piece of, you know, normally you're posting and all these pieces of content get 100 views, and then you got one piece of content that has 1,000 views. You said, all right, take that, you run that into a paid ad, and you put either $1 to $5 a day on that, right? For Facebook, let's say it's Facebook ads, Facebook IG ads, and typically what you would do with that is you would just run it as either a brand awareness campaign, because you don't necessarily have anything to sell just yet, right? But you're just trying to get people used to seeing you and maybe follow your page. And that should be running in your background. Like, that should be running. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, that's supposed to be your baseline promotion that goes on for, you know, years on end. So if you think about how we spend our money, if we spend our money on coffee or tea, or every day we go this, we get a, you know, bacon, egg, and cheese, whatever it is that we like to do every day. But we took the same amount of money and we put it into a paid ad campaign, and we run that for a year. How many new people would you think would find your music or your product or anything else that you might be looking to sell? How many more people would be aware of who you are? You know what I mean? Like, these are the things that have to happen in the background. You know what I mean? But what happens is we tend to think that if it's not like tens of thousands of dollars, that it shouldn't be done. This is furthest from the truth. This is further some truth. Like, how do people build niche audiences? How do people build core followings? This is the way that you do it. All right. You see what I'm saying? So based on what you're telling me there, Ashkin, you see that it works. You know what I'm saying? It says, can I talk about something that I spoke on with, like, what taxes to disenfranchised producers? So it depends on what level you're on, right? So for example, if I use Serato. I did we did the Lloyd Banks Taking Notes record in the Serato studio. You can check that out. That's on Lloyd Banks Halloween Havoc 5. The record is called Taking Notes. That came out like last Halloween. So you can go check that out. That's all Serato studio. What was I gonna say? So how are these guys disenfranchised? And the thing that I talk about the most is I talk about master recording royalties, right? Master recording royalties is basically the royalty that's going to be associated with the master side of a record. That a lot of people don't like to talk about that master side because typically what happens is you get an advance on your royalties, right? So that's coming out of that side of the royalty pool. And normally that side of the royalty pool doesn't pay you anything until the artist recoups all of its money, right? So in a situation where you have an artist whose records are sometimes cross-collateralized, meaning that they have cross-collateralization, where if a first album is successful and the second album isn't successful, the profits from the first album are tied into the second album, and then they use that as a mechanism to make sure that no one ever recoups. And then when they don't recoup, then nobody gets any royalties. This is a game that they play, right? So the game is that they say, hey, say for example, I got a Big Pun record, right? Let's take that for example. Big Pun's first album, he gets a modest record deal. Let's say it's $500,000, right? Let's just say that's what it is. It could be less, it could be more. This is during the 90s. If you had a record deal that was $300,000 or higher, you were doing big things back then. So let's say Big Pun's first album is $300,000 to $400,000. Big, Fat Joe having some clout might have been able to get a little bit more. The first album explodes. It does 3 million copies. Right? Now, by all definitions, right, 3 million copies. If we take 3 million copies and we do it by the cost of cassettes and CDs based at that time, that would have been anywhere between $10 and $15 per sale, $10 to $20 per sale, right? In terms of cassettes being $12.98 and CDs being $19.99 back then. Doing 3 million copies, that means that he somewhere grossed about $30 million, right? So of course you would think that he recouped, right? But of course he has to recoup at a certain percentage, and this is where label math gets funny. So what does the label want to do? The label wants to hurry up and say, hey, put out your second album. But for your second album, we're going to give you millions to do it, right? Because remember what they want to do. They don't want you to get any royalties. Because at this point, if he sold 3 million records, if he stops taking money from the label, he's recouped and now he gets royalties. They don't want you to get royalties. They never want to trigger the event that makes royalties start to flow. They don't want to. Remember, that's the plan here. The plan here is to stop the event that triggers royalty payments, because that means everybody that's associated with that project now has to get paid royalties. Every producer, everybody that's on that album, that worked on that album, that has a producer agreement or anything that's entitled to royalties, now it triggers an event where people are supposed to get royalties. Right? So this is where we're at. So what second album comes, the label wants, get the second album out. We're going to give you whatever money you want because you just did 3 million copies, right? Now we're sitting on $10, $20 million now, right? So now they're giving you the money. So you're like, okay, I'm high on the hog. So my first album might have been $300,000. Now I'm getting $1 million budget. Oh, shoot, I'm going, right? Cool. In the case of Pun passes away, right? Before the second album drops. passes away 4 months before before the album drops. Second album still does 1 million copies, right? Maybe 1.5 as you take streaming into account, whatever, right? So he's not alive now he wasn't alive now to incur more expenses, right? So he had posthumous sales and all these things. So this is an album now that has triggered a recoupment, right? Ding, 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 right? Because now he wasn't alive long enough, right? But what they do is they never tell you that he recoups. They don't send out a notification to tell you that he recoups, because what they want to do is they want to make sure that you don't get any payments during the window in which you can audit. Because remember, you have like a 6.5 year audits window. So they're trying to make sure that everything for you gets slow walked. They don't tell you that the audits recoup. So your money's sitting on the account. Nobody tells you about it. You know that the money sitting on the account is being interest bearing. Nobody talks about that. Right? So nobody talks about the music that's recouped. Nobody talks about nobody says that it's recouped. That's number one. They never notify you that it recoups. That's number two. If you don't have your vendor account set up properly, you won't even get a statement. You will not even get a statement if your vendor account is not set up properly. Now, you would think, because you did a contract initially, right, and that you got your advance, that they would have the information that would basically be, right, they gave you an advance, so they got your tax ID number, they got your address, right, because you got a contract, they got your social, they got everything on there, right? You would think that would be enough for them to start sending you statements. No. You would think that because you've already been in the payment system, that someone would set up a vendor account for you because you've already been paid previously, right? Right? But it's not coming from the same pool of money. So that's why now you have to go set up a vendor account. See, this is the stuff that they do, that they create these hurdles that are really not needed. They don't need that hurdle because they've already paid you. So why do I have to go back and set up a separate portal again for royalty payment, right? This is the game that they play. Versus should be automatic. So by the time you get to it and you figure it out and you do that, cool, you did it. Now what happens is you're trying to make sure that your statements are accurate, right? Because you have to also pay attention to that, because you can get a royalty statement that's not accurate in terms of your contract, right? Right, they're doing all the hoopla instead of doing good business. You see what I'm saying? And then when you're dealing with these labels now, like with Sony and UMG, and you're talking about legacy producers like myself that have produced records prior to the advent of streaming, right? They don't want to open the books. All they want to do is they want to say, hey, we're wiping out all of the books, the debt from, if this album was unrecouped, we're going to wipe that off so that you can get your streaming income. And so a lot of people are saying, yay, I get my streaming income. But what they don't want to tell you is that those projects probably recouped, and they want to move the stuff off of the books so that you can't audit them and you can't go back and look at what you were getting in terms of physical sales, right? Because that's really where the money is really made. It's the physical sales. Mr. Playboy saying they want you to feel like you're winning, like a casino, but you're really losing, right? You think you're winning, but you're not winning. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'll tell you a joke too, man. Like, I remember working on the movie Black and White. We were doing the music for the movie Black and White. We used to go down to this editing studio. It used to be right across the street from SOBs in New York. If y'all familiar with down that area, you know what it is. And the movie was being edited, and we were basically doing the musical cues and stuff like that. And I used to be downtown, and I used to meet with the director, who at the time was James Toback, who got like a terrible $1 billion like essay. He wanted a Harvey Weinstein type dudes, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta go look at that. James Toback. he used to have a really good relationship with Robert Downey Jr. and Mike Tyson. Anyhow, I used to be in the studio with him. He used to bring like Brett Ratner and Marlon Maples. He was married to Trump. You know, it's just a time to be alive, right? You know what I'm saying? This is a time to be alive, to be in the building with these folks. And we're working on this movie. We're doing the musical cues, and Power from Wu-Tang, it was the executive producer because he was also an actor in the movie after he did Belly. So, you know, if anybody know Power and they know Power, you know, he like to talk. You know, he's a guy that talks, and when he starts talking, he can talk to you for hours. And you know, this is a really down to earth guy. Once you get the kind of chance to talk to him, of how to figure out what's what, you know what I mean? But I used to always ask him, like, yo, man, why don't you guys, you know, as far as the Wu-Tang situation is concerned, you guys are selling millions of records. You know, why don't you guys reduce the amount that you take up front? You know, and, you know, basically live off the back end, you know what I mean? Because you guys are selling records, millions of records, why don't live off the back end? And that was the first time somebody told me in the music industry, like, listen, there's no back end. It was like, there is no back end. And I was like, what you mean there's no back end? He said, you'll take all your money up front. He said, that's what we do here. We take all our money up front. We negotiate very, 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 very high advances. And we take all of our money up front, and we're not worried about what happens on the back end. Because to your point, like the way that it's structured that if you don't sell tens of millions of records, you know, depending on your budget size, you might not necessarily recoup. So they were doing the smart thing back then, and they were just taking their $1 million and all that stuff up front. You know what I mean? Now, in the case of some other guys' albums, like you said, Big Pun, he passed away. He didn't have a chance to run up the tab. You see what I'm saying? But when you're trying to go collect your money from these folks, these are the games that they kind of play, and they play this stuff with a ton of producers. Like you would be amazed at the amount of producers that reached out to me based on some of my posts. And, you know, shout out to Timbaland, because Timbaland also was very instrumental in getting some of these posts to get put on different platforms. He reached out to me directly and like, hey, anything you need, I'm going to support you with it, because I see you trying to help other producers. And, you know, they're not privy to the process. You know, it's a process. You know, not only do you have to set up a vendor's account, you have to now, after you set up the vendor's account, now we have to start sending emails, right? They have to reconcile it, right? Because remember what they got to do now. They got to have your contract. Your contract has to be executed. That's another thing, another game that people play, is you'll have a contract that you sign to get your money in terms of your advance, but you don't get the signed copy back from the artist, because you need the signed contract from the artist to basically be able to open the books to even look at what you're earning. Like you can't even get a royalty statement or anything like that if you don't have an executed agreement. So imagine you got a record that's earning, but because, you know, you signed off, but you didn't get the return signature from the artist, you don't even know what your music is earning. And these are just the games that get played. You know what I'm saying? So these are where people are being disenfranchised terribly from the labels that no one wants to really talk about. But I'm talking about it, and I'm trying to really bring awareness to that stuff. You know what I mean? And even when they're in the wrong, they still slow walk it. Listen, if it's not for everybody, man. But this is really the point of the platform, and this is part of the reason why I try to go live. It's not really it's about making music, yes, but I really want people to understand this business. Like, you know, let's understand this business, and that's just the label side, right? I've had calls when, you know, the label side is one thing. They were talking about stuff like the sound exchange, right? And people don't realize, hey, the sound exchange, you just can't. The sound exchange is another mechanism, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. That was created by the labels to combat music publishing income that they weren't sharing in. So say, for example, if I create a record and I create a record, you know, the label owns the master recordings, but the publishing, the artists own, right? So the artists and the writers and the producers own the music publishing. So if we're getting radio play, we're making money off of radio play, and the labels aren't sharing in that income. So of course they would have to make a deal with you for your publishing. And they say, hey, we'll be your publishing administrator so that they can get into that income stream. But then what they also did is they said, an artist like Whitney Houston that, have all these big songs, and Babyface and these guys getting rich off of these big songs, and she's not making no money because she's just a featured vocalist and she didn't write any of these records. And we're the label and we're not getting rich off the radio play, right? Especially when an album stops selling, right? Because remember, before streaming, albums would stop selling, right? They wouldn't be on the shelf anymore. There's no physical room for it. So, but radio play will remain consistent, right? So you can always hear All You Want for Christmas, even though the album ain't out for sale, right? So the labels was like, yo, how are we gonna get some of this money? Oh, so they create another thing called a sound exchange, and they say basically the sound exchange is going to pay for the sound recording, which is the music itself, not the composition, not the written words, because there's two parts of the copyright. It's going to pay for that, right? We want to pay for the sound recording, and we want to pay the featured artist, meaning we want to pay Whitney Houston or Rihanna or whatever for their vocal performance, right? And if any producers want to get into that income, we have to sign off a letter of direction giving permission for them to get a portion of the sound recording income, acting as if when I make a beat, this is not part of the sound recording. My music is not the bed of the sound recording. Make it make sense, right? So this is the games that it play. You know what I'm saying? These are the games that it play. And when you release your own music, right? All of a sudden you're entitled to 100% of your sound recording, right? And when you put out an instrumental album, all of a sudden your instrumental album is part of a sound recording, but it's not part of the sound recording when it's coming from the label. It's only the featured artists that have control over it. So even if you get a letter of direction from those folks and they send it to you, if the label doesn't send a letter of direction to the sound exchange, you don't get paid. They won't accept it if it doesn't come directly from the label or from the featured artist. So I can have the same signed document as they have, but if it doesn't come from them, they won't accept it. And they only go back 3.5 years in retroactive. So if you have a record like mine that's 20 years old, in order for me to get retroactive royalties, I have to effectively sue the artist. So I have to sue every single artist for that for that to happen. So what's the best way for you to get paid making the beats that we make? The best way for us to get paid is for us to really, one, to promote. Like I said earlier, make sure that you're promoting. You find something to promote them. And then two, to make sure that you're releasing things on your own. Like that's the best way, in my opinion. And then also, there are the other nuanced things that you have to do is in terms of being a producer at 2025. You have to make sure that you're releasing music on every platform, YouTube, etc. You have to be very versed in terms of trying to find artists to work with. You know what I mean? In some cases, you may have to give away some music, especially when you're just starting. And then you want to build your catalog. Like when you build your catalog, eventually it will start to earn for you. You just have to build it. You have to put it out. And you have to be consistent about putting out music. It will earn for you. It just takes time. And listen, this is where we are, man. This is where we are when we're talking about this stuff. Like that's a sound exchange. When we're talking about ASCAP, you have to make sure also that you're paying attention to your song registrations. For some strange reason, your song registrations can change without you knowing, right? And there's nefarious things that happen here, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? These things, there's nefarious things that happen. Like I have another situation that's ongoing, right? Where, we put out a record. I register the records. I manage our administration, so I register these records. I registered everything that we put out, And then it seems like one of the publishers for one of the other featured artists also registered the record. But it registered the record absent of me and Mike as the writers. Right? This is the joke. And this is the real joke. This is the joke. So I submit the registration. Someone else submits the registration, a duplicate. How does ASCAP determine which one they should pay? All right. So of course, if it's coming from a major publisher, most likely they're gonna go with that one, right? Okay. No questions asked, right? When I see that there's an issue, because I'm not seeing this record show up, on my royalty statements, right? You would think it was whoever registered it first. So then what I did is I reached out to them and I said, hey, we're writers on this record. I'm like, here goes the Spotify. Here goes a screenshot of the Spotify writers. I don't control the writers on the record from Spotify for a major label release. That's from the label metadata, right or wrong. You think ASCAP fixed it? You think they fixed it? All right. No, they didn't fix it. So then I had to get a copy of my my staff producer agreement from the record label. And then I submitted that. And I said, hey, not only are we staff producers for the label, we're also A&Rs. We're the A&Rs on this record. Here goes the record liner notes. Now they want to change everything. Now they won't fix it. I'm like, yeah. But then they're like, well, we only got a year retroactive. I said, no, you don't have a year retroactive because this is not our fault. Right? This is not something that we did. It's something that you did internally. Because with all the writers on this record, why does the two writers with the same last name get taken off? It's one thing if Mike gets taken off and I get left on, right? We still have the same last name because we're cousins, but you take off both of us. Now you know that's a sham. You know what I'm saying? So I said you guys gotta fix it, or else my lawyer's coming. Pause. Right? Now what do I suggest for distribution? If you're on a budget, I hate to say it, if you're on a budget. If you're on a budget and you're going to release frequently, then you do the DistroKid. Right? He said, don't go with DistroKid. Yeah, if you're on a budget, man, I don't really recommend that either. You know what I'm saying? But I do have songs with virtual adapt. If you're going to release constantly, you know what I'm saying? But remember when we're dealing with DistroKid. DistroKid, they have some real funny practices, man. And and depending on how you promote your music, man, these guys like to take everything and say everything is streaming fraud, man. You know what I mean? Between them and TuneCore, it's real tricky, man. Right now, I think a lot of folks are doing okay with United Masters, but man, the other ones, man, it's a little dastardly right now. Well, listen, I think what happens is like this: if they get you with the annually, what you're supposed to be doing, if you're doing annually, you're supposed to be releasing a ton of music, bro. Like pay the one price and release a ton of music. There's no cap on what you can release, and then you're supposed to put that on an account with an auto pay. Like, you know what I'm saying? The same way we pay our cell phone, the same way we pay our our Netflix don't get canceled, does it? Right? There's a built-in expense, right? Remember, we got to deal with this stuff like a business, man. It has to be responsible. It has to be put on some sort of recurring payment system. You know what I mean? So, and if you're earning money, you just make sure it's taken care of. And listen, I used to remember my first releases were like CD Baby and stuff. So I was always used to paying, for the life of a release. Back then it used to be like $49 for the life of a release. You know what I mean? And honestly, if you ask me, my CD Baby releases pay more on Spotify streams, with less issues when it comes to streaming and them trying to to shaft you for free streams and all of that stuff. On my on the CD Baby account, it looks like it pays more. That's just my experience. But that's what I kind of recommend for whatever. Any other questions, man? We're on here for the 2 hours. We're getting ready to jump off in a little bit.
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see.
Remember with the Sound Exchange, man? Sound Exchange is only paying for, XM radio and that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? XM radio, Pandora. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, only the big records get picked up for that. You know what I'm saying? So if you got like a record that's not getting that type of play, if it's not part of like a elevated music somewhere, it doesn't really pay like it should. But again, these are the things that are invented for them to make more money. Yeah, I think United Masters is pretty decent. But I have releases on I have releases on DistroKid, TuneCore, United Masters, and then we also have a distribution deal with Sony and the Orchard. So that's through a major. So we have a few releases that are on that. We have a record with female vocalist. Her name is Bria Lee. That record is called On Fire. And that's through the Sony Orchard system. It's kind of a trap pop, if you want to go listen to that. Shout out to her. She's a dope vocalist, very underrated. People don't really know about her. She was signed to Universal at one point. Bass player, I hope so. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to see who it lands on. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you got so many moving parts for dealing with singers. Do I have any issues when I left one distributor for 11? Nah, typically, man, I just leave the releases there. Now, if you're trying to transfer the releases, it get tricky, bro. But whatever they got is what they got, man. We just got to make more music. Listen, you got to continue to make music, man. Like, you can't get stuck on that, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't get stuck on it. How do you deal with sample-based beats? Is it worth use TrackLib or Splice? Absolutely, it's worth using it. It's absolutely worthless. It's actually, like, using TrackLib or using Splice, man, are the best things since, I don't know, man, wireless phone, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like honestly, you don't got to do anything. You know what I'm saying? You just, you know what I mean? You just release your music. You know what I mean? But I would always suggest that, listen, man, when you're dealing with samples, man, when you're dealing with samples, man, just make sure that you're manipulating a little bit, man. Pitch it up a little bit, pitch it down a little bit, chop it if you need to, man. Just try to get it to do something a little different from the original. Is AI going to take our spot? It's going to take your spot, not mine, friend. No, it's look, man. You know what I find interesting, and I reposted a guy's video on my TikTok today, and he made a very, very good point. He said when people was out here using AI to do artwork, right? You use AI to do anime, you do AI to do your album covers now, you do AI in Canva, right? You do all this AI stuff to draw and to do that. But remember, that's replacing somebody's job too, right? That's replacing the graphic artists and all those folks that had to learn hours and hours of Photoshop and hours and hours and hours of, Adobe Illustrator and all those things. That's me. That's me. That's me that use that stuff. Because I use that stuff to design websites and do that stuff. I was doing that stuff. You know what I mean? Now AI does it. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Is it going to replace us right now? No. Because I ain't going to hold you. The outputs for Suno, for example, if you're using that, the music that's coming out still needs work. But the vocals, watch out. You know what I mean? So I think what we have to do as creators, we have to accept what's about to transpire. And then once we realize that it's happening, we have to find out, okay, how do we leverage this tool early? How do we adopt something early enough to fill a void, to capitalize and leverage what happens? You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, some of these things are like what I would call hitting a lick, right? If you was an early adopter in crypto, you probably hit a lick. If you learned how to really deal with crypto, now you can make a business out of it after you really learn. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you can be early in something that really takes off. And then once it does that, man, you capitalize that and then you take your lick. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you're a producer, you don't know which album's going through 3-4 million copies. You don't know. Some do, some don't. When you hit your lick, you got to buy a tangible asset. House, this, that, you know what I mean? Another business. So that you can continue to keep your money flowing. This is not financial advice. Yeah, like if you listen to my stuff.
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak, for all of the things that we go through. It's what I get for loving you.
Have I tried to produce for up and comings? Yes. Listen, everybody that I work with in the beginning is always up and coming, man. Listen, if you go, there's a video on my YouTube that has a very, very, very early Meek Mill. He was up and coming too. You just gotta go see it. You gotta identify who's up and coming, man. You know what I'm saying? There are some guys that are up and coming, man, and you have to your job is to identify who's next, And I have a lot of guys that I talk to that are up and coming artists that, I'm involved in their projects. I'm involved in them, you know what I'm saying? And I involve myself very early, and I'm offering the advice and I'm trying to give them the counsel. And what I'm trying to see if folks is going to execute what I'm saying. Are you going to execute what I'm saying? Because nothing that I'm giving you is not going to help you. It's going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely, you know what I'm saying? And you have to understand that, us as Arkatech Beatz now, we have a very unique position. We're not like the other guys. Again, you can see, my cousin and my name on these records for major labels as A&Rs. You know what I'm saying? So we're not just the producers. You know what I'm saying? We were also the executives that helped to craft the records and understand the process of it going to this one, going here, going there. You know what I'm saying? So we understand what it is and what it takes. So a lot of times when we're telling artists, listen, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do with this. You need to do that. You need to do this. We're trying to see who's listening. You like drums or sample instrument first? I like samples first, personally. But sometimes I like drums first. You know what I mean? It just depends.
Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Tired of the heartache, tired of the heartbreak. For all of the things that we go through, it's what I get for loving you. Never will we fight again. Always thought we'd be just friends. Thought that we'd be together for the time we'd see. Never wanted to be with this. Couldn't understand a thing. And I wanna know why we're not together. Why we're not together.
So what do I look for up and coming that trigger me to say they got it? A lot of times, man, it's gonna be, a lot of times it's gonna be the cadence and the control on how they put the words together. If it's a singer, I'm listening for, the melodic. I'm listening to something that's melodic, and then the control of a voice. How do they determine when they're gonna do their runs, how they're gonna do their runs, and remember, you can't really gauge yourself of them singing other people's music. If they're singing their own music, that's when you kind of understand the talent threshold, right? Because even if they're singing somebody else's music, those are classic records, and those can sometimes skew your perspective. How do you sound on original music? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you what's your timing like? If you're a rapper, I like what's your timing? If you're a rapper, what's your voice sound like? How do you put your words together, right? And granted, you have different, regional areas, right? Because Texas guys sound one way, Atlanta guys sound another way, California guys sound another way. Your best of the best coming from all of these regions, they kind of have a little bit of it all, right? Because if you notice, like, T.I. doesn't rap how he talk, right? Like, T.I. might, if he talks, you might hear that he has an accent versus the way that he raps. Ludacris is from Atlanta, but not the way that he may rap. You know what I'm saying? But that's what gives a universal appeal. The Game or Corrupt, or like Snoop. You know what I mean? These are things that you have to listen to. The way that people put their words together, piece their words together, their control, their voice, the cadence, the energy, the timing. You on beat, off beat. Do you know how to even be off beat and go back on beat? Do you know how to do an off beat, on beat to make it actually have a style? Sometimes people, you got to be careful. Sometimes people say they sound different. People use the word sound different for trash, right? They go, you don't like somebody that sound different because you don't want to follow the rules. You don't want to be on beat. You don't want to be on key. You don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to follow the things that make commercial music successful, and then say, well, this is my own sound. Nah, bro, you just not disciplined enough to really follow the rules of music. You know what I'm saying? And then you try to say that it's different. You know what I mean? Nah, bro, it's not that it's different. It's just you're trying to buck against something because you don't really know how to do it. And it's better for you to say you don't know how to do it, or just use the freaking tools that are out there. Use the auto tune. Use this. Use that. You know what I'm saying? Use the tools to get your joints to sound commercially viable. There's no excuse, man. I just no excuse, man. In 2025, there is no excuse for trash music, bro. If you don't know, it's one thing, But there's no other excuse outside of not knowing. And even if you don't know, the amount of tutorials that are out, man, that never were available to people like myself. It should never sound the way that it sounds. Yeah, if you're doing sync, sync requires something different than doing instrumental beats for albums. Like, sync has a different way that stuff have to be set up. You know what I'm saying? And for the stuff that we did in terms of sync, those are different. Those require a different it just requires a little bit different the way that the beats have to end on. It has to end a certain way. They have to be a certain length, and it has to change every few bars. And I have a guy that is doing a lot of big stuff in sync, and I'm gonna have him on the podcast for him to talk a lot more about it because he has a lot more experience in it than I do. Thanks everybody for the likes. Man, we're low on the gifts tonight, but the likes are at 22,000. I see folks at YouTube. I see folks on Twitch. So this is all good situation.
Arkatech Beatz. Arkatech Beatz. Arkatech Beatz.
EMG, thanks for your gift. Listen, man, the way that I work with independent artists, man, there are two ways that I kind of do that out here, man. It's like this. This is what folks don't seem to understand, and I think this is the main thing for independent artists is I explain this to people time and time and time again. People will work with you if you're working with yourself. And you're going to say, well, what do you mean by that? Meaning people want to see that you're investing in your future. People want to see that you are making your own moves and not waiting on anybody, and you're doing what you can with what you have. People want to see that. That's what we're looking for. You have to realize that for anybody that succeeds at anything, or if anyone that's successful at doing anything, and I know it takes an inordinate amount of time to get to a certain level doing certain types of things. Point blank, period. And what we want to see is not that we want you to experience the hardship that we went through. We just want to see that you're dedicated to it before we actually invest our time, because our time is actually worth a lot to us, right? Especially when you get at this age. My time is everything to me. It's time away from my kids. It's time away from my wife, etc., etc. So when we say we want to work with independent artists, we set up, if you notice what's happening on our website, if you go to arkatechbeatz.com, there are a bunch of things that are actually, the whole website is literally dedicated to independent artists. It's not dedicated to major label artists. Major label artists have a different thing that they have to go through with us, right? It's not dedicated to major label artists. It's dedicated to independent artists. Every single book on there is for independent artists. Every single drum kit is for independent artists. Every article, every piece of podcast is for independent artists. Even the beats that we put on the site is for independent artists. It's priced specifically for independent artists who we know cannot afford to work with us on a regular level. Right? So even when we've reduced the barrier of entry for independent artists, there's still an issue. So the question is, it's not that we don't want to work with independent artists. It's that, are the independent artists willing to invest enough to work with people who can literally change the things that they need to be changed for themselves? That's the reality of it. So it's there for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have to go and have to look at it and say, okay, what is it going to take? What is it going to take to build a relationship with this person who is advanced? Like, what is it going to take? You know what I'm saying? I'm live every single night. Imagine that. I'm live every single night with a resume of Big Pun, Nas, Raekwon the Chef, RZA, Jadakiss, Master Killer, Young Buck, Sheik Luch, The Game, Maya, Shorty Low, Trouble, Meek Mill, Freddie Gibbs, Killer Mike, and, Little Key, the list goes on. You know what I'm saying? So the question here is that, how do I build with somebody who's already done everything, and how am I able to take the information that's coming, from this person to advance myself? Like, that's what it's about. And I don't think people are really realizing that, man. I think people think that it's just like, it's whatever. But that's really what I'm trying to offer here with this. People want to see that you are working. You know what I'm saying? Like, people want to see that you're working, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what people respect. People respect hard work, bro. That's the one thing that I have to keep putting that out there. People respect hard workers, man. People respect people who are out here trying to work regardless. The thing about this music business too, man, is this music business requires you to have a certain level of consistency, and it has to have a certain level of dedication, man, because it doesn't happen overnight. Shout out to Kato on the track because he says, "Hey man, overnight success took 10 years." When he had, and he has the hat that says, "Hey, overnight success is 10 years in the making," and I'm like, "Yo, bro, he's right. He's right. He's right. It didn't happen overnight." You know what I'm saying? I'm literally sitting here talking about records that I've produced from 1998. Think about that. Records from 1998 and still here, still doing this, still working with this guy, still working with that guy. Shout out to the BSF and those guys. So wait till you hear some of that coming out. You're gonna make your head spin. You know what I mean? It's like we still here. You know what I'm saying? There's really no expiration date on good producers. Your ear is your ear. Goldie, I don't know what you're talking about, man. We're not talking about no, cracked VST stuff, man. Block Party, I see you. And, shout out to everybody that's following on all the platforms. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Richie Mays, man. Thank you for the gift, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks to everybody that's supporting. Again, thanks to everybody that's, getting these books. Who are checking out. Listen, there's a gear list on our website, right? So if you're new and you don't know what to get, there's a list there that's telling you what to get. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand the music business, there's a list there telling you what books to buy. They're not just all our books, right? You know what I'm saying? Do I collaborate with producers or accept loops? We stopped accepting loops because we don't know if we couldn't validate if the loops were really from the producers that submitted them. That's what caused the problem. You know what I'm saying? So we don't take those anymore. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens is that there was a lot of stipulations and a lot of the stuff when it's time for us to do the business, people want to insert themselves, in the business portion of it when they didn't perpetuate the business. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the problem too. You know what I'm saying? So, because we can't validate the copyrights, man, like that's what got Timbo and all that problem with the whole Suno thing, man. It's because he's taking somebody's music and somebody was misrepresenting the music on the live, and he's thinking this belongs to this person, and he puts it in the AI, not knowing it belongs to another person. How do I recommend getting in place as an up-and-coming producer? One, you got to post your music, bro. You got to put your music out. You got to post yourself, when you're working. Make sure people are listening and hearing your stuff. Typically, when you're posting enough, if your stuff is good enough, sometimes people will want to work with you. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to start getting into those guys' DMs and getting onto their social media. Start compiling their email list. Start engaging and seeing if you can start sending the packs out. If your music is good enough, it'll get picked up. But I'll also say this too. I said this the other day. Make sure that we're working at our level. You know what I mean? Meaning, if you don't have any placements, what you want to try to do is you want to try to work with people who are up and coming first. Try to get that under your belt. Try to get that music good and sonically sound. And then as you start getting more placements, then you'll start to be able to move up and start saying, okay, this is who I want to work with. And then you'll start to be able to kind of move around. But a lot of it is a grind, man. You still have to reach out to managers. You still have to reach out to artists. DMs get ignored. This happens, that happens, but you got to be in people's comments, liking stuff, following, and you got to be on every other platform to make sure that you're making your presence felt. So it's definitely a grind. It's not easy, but the thing here is this: the more that you post, the greater your chance of being discovered. There's a ton of artists out here. I remember what we're dealing with. We're not just dealing with the United States. We're dealing with the world. I have a bunch of artists from Canada. I got a bunch of artists from UK. It's like, this is an international sport now. You know what I mean? And something that Russ says, Russ says this very eloquently. He says, "Hey man, if your music game, if something not happening for you, you have to really think about if your music is even good enough." You know what I'm saying? And it takes time to get there. It takes time. It takes time to get music good, man. It takes time to understand the nuance of it. And we still have room to improve. That's another part of this exercise coming on every night. Is still trying to improve. You know, like even in my tenure, I'm still trying to get better. Because listen, like there's some dope music out here, man. You know, I'm not sure if you guys are listening to like the Leon Thomases of the world and the Lucky Days and the Victoria Monets. These are great albums, great songs, great stuff coming out. You know what I mean? Clip stuff sounding crazy. There's always room to improve, man. You know, John Bellerton and what's the other guy, man? Teddy Swims and these guys. He's a great artist, man. We're making great songs, and it ain't all hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It ain't all hip hop, man. You gotta stretch that palette a little bit so you can kind of understand, what good music sound like across genres. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta take those elements and you gotta bring them into your genre. You know what I'm saying? No one denies good music. It doesn't matter what genre it is. If it's good music, man, it don't matter what it is. Richie, I always appreciate you. You know, you always get to stay out late with me because you're on the West Coast, man. See how you play it. You're on the West Coast, so it's only 11 o'clock over there. Lucky for you, you know what I'm saying. Over here, it's damn near 3 a.m. I'm gonna play this joint one last time before I get on out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. We're here every day, man. So for those first time here, man, make sure y'all following up. Make sure you hit the notification bells, following. I said, what do you give me? What tips do you do for creating melodies? Melodies in terms of what? As far as musical melodies or vocal melodies? Try to go live between 9 and 10 o'clock, bro. But tonight I got on at 11, man. It was late in the kids, man. What I do for doing beat melodies? What tips do I do? What tips do I give for creating melodies? The tip that I would give you, King of the Jungle, is use samples, man. You know what I'm saying? Use royalty-free samples, man. There's a million loops inside of those things. And if you like something good enough, you can listen to it and say, okay, I'm gonna replay. I'm going to do an interpolation of that. And remember, you can do that without having any recourse because remember, that's all royalty-free, and there's nobody that's gonna be breathing down your neck saying that you stole anything. You see how that works?
Arkatech Beatz.
See, Richie hit it right on the nail on the head. On a serious note, it teaches you how to understand the melodies. This is absolutely accurate, right? Because look, and Richie Mays can attest to this, and who else? Rob Mully, and a few other guys that were in the live last night, right? When we did this record last night, we started with this, right? And I need people to pay attention to this, right? Because it was, what do we have here? It was. This is a sample. Right? Now that was the sample, right? So by the time that I went and I decided to add more stuff to it, right? Then we got hold on with now let's do the hook.
Hold me, love me, hold me. We're falling in love, falling in love. I'm falling in love with you again.
Right? we started with the other sample, right? So when we started with that sample, and I wind up going now, and I wind up doing this melody, and then I took this melody like that you hear now, and I put that melody on top of the sample, and then got that vocal sample. You know what I'm saying? Now I got the lead that now goes together with what we started with, a vocal sample. You know what I'm saying? So the game here is to take stuff, right? There's a nice book out there that I always recommend reading. It's called Steal Like an Artist, right? And it says nothing is new under the sun, right? But what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be looking at this stuff and saying, okay, how can we enhance it or embellish it? How can we make it better, right? How can we add on to it, right? Especially in the case here where we're dealing with royalty-free samples. These are stuff that we're supposed to be able to use as part of the music bed. If we're able to use this stuff without any ramifications, why are we using it? A lot of time that's an ego thing that we don't want. You know, we want the idea to come from us entirely, and I get that, right? That's cool. You know, if you're gifted in that realm to where you can produce that without any problems and you can do that consistently, man, that's a gift from God, man. Take it and run with it. But for those of us who don't have that, for those of us who have to get inspired, and remember that's how samples work for me. I can't say for everybody else, but they inspire, you know, my other creations. And people who have been with me live now for the last 64 days, you have seen me be inspired by so many different types of loops, so many different samples, so many different pitches, tones, genres of music. We go from the most gutter, you know, to the you know, the dreamy, airy vocals. You know what I'm saying? So we're being inspired by that, and what that helps to do is it helps to stretch us, meaning that now we're not just relegated to one type of music and or sound. It helps us now to be able to work with different music beds. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to inspire each other, and good music inspires other good music, and that's what people don't realize, is that when I hear Pharrell in the Clips, I'm like, damn, I gotta smash that. Like that is like, ooh, I like that. I like that aggression. I like that they got the Indian going, and I gotta do something that makes me feel that way. You know what I'm saying? And this is what was missing from music, was the album. Like, you know, if you don't get an Illmatic, you don't get Ready to Die. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't get Illmatic, you don't get Reasonable Doubt. Like these are the, like, you know, you can always do track lip or splice. You know what I'm saying? If you don't get a Southern playalistic Cadillac music, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need a Chronic, you need a Doggy Style, you need these things, man. You need an Infamous album. You don't get these things, you know, what are you gonna do if you don't have these great albums, man? You need a Victory Lap, right? Nipsey Hussle, you need that. You need those things, man. You know, so you need good music to inspire. You need more music to get you good ideas. You know what I mean? It says, what do you do? What do I do to glue the mix together? Honestly, choose the right sounds, bro. Like, that's where I start. Like, I'm starting from really kind of find the right sounds, man. Like, for those who follow, this kit is curated. I curate these kits to find the sounds that I know are going to go together. And remember, when I'm dealing with a sample, you know, like, that's the first part of it. Like, when I'm dealing with a sample, I'm choosing a sample that I know that sonically it's going to sound a particular way. Right? Right? I'm listening to that. I'm like, how do I get my stuff to go? Right? So you hear how the bass is going. So when it's time for me to do what I'm doing on it, how do I get my sounds now to follow what's going on here? So listen to how the drum goes. Right? Too often you got guys that got a sample going one way, their drums going the other way. Or they got music going this way and the percussion going the other way. Right? Like, always think of it as an enhancement. You know what I'm saying? How do we get it to be part of the music bed? You know what I'm saying? Think about it like we're making a layered cake. You know, we're putting the first layer down. We're asking ourselves, okay, before we put the second layer down, what are we putting in between? Are we putting strawberries in between? Are we putting chocolate in between? Like, what is going to complement this cake? You know what I'm saying? If I got a pineapple cake, you know, are we going to put buttercream on here, or are we going to put, you know, sardines? You know what I'm saying? That don't go. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to pay attention to what works together. You know what I'm saying? Too often we're trying things that just really don't go. And then also a lot of it too, Mirage, is that we're not listening to enough music. Like, we're not listening to enough music. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go back and listen to Off the Wall or something like that. Go listen to the great albums that you love, that you grew up on. You know what I'm saying? You go listen to those. If you listen to those joints, you'd be like, okay. Listen to where everything is landing. You know what I'm saying? Today I'm in my living room with my kids, right? What am I playing, right? I'm playing 80s music. Owner of a lonely heart, owner of a lonely heart. Why does that work? When I listen to music, I was like, why does that work? Why does it even make sense to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this music still being played 40 years later? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to start really dissecting music like we're supposed to be dissecting music. A lot of us is just trying to look at this joint like an easy way to get out. You know what I'm saying? We want to bring back good music, man. Wu-Tang Forever. What if I told you I didn't like that album?
Arkatech Beatz.
Listen, man, and nothing will outdo a good vocal performance, whether it be a singer, rapper. Great vocal performance is a great vocal performance, man. You know what I'm saying? It'll make your hair stand up. You know that, and I know that. You hear it, you be like, oh, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It'll move you, you know, internally. You know what I mean? So, listen, shout out to everybody that's in the live, man. I'm going to do my best to be here between 9 and 10 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Typically, the sun is going down a little later in the day. You know, what I'm going to try to do during the day is I'm going to try to put my kids in the summer heat and have them exhausted so that they can go down to bed early. When I was growing up, we would be outside all day, and you know, by the time we ate dinner, we would just fall out. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do my best to make sure that that happens tomorrow. Get them in the pool, get them swimming, get them fed really good and make sure that they can fall out. You know what I mean? For those who, again, first time here, just make sure that you are liking, following, hitting the notification bells. If you need to watch the repeats of these lives, YouTube, all of the repeats are on YouTube, right? And we talk about so much. Like today, we talked about a whole lot in terms of like, you know, music industry stuff. And as we get into the Patreon, I'm trying to see if we can get that up by the top of the month. There'll be like more dedicated like tutorials in terms of like, okay, hey, this is how you're going to register your song at ASCAP. Boop, 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 boop. This is how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to keep a spreadsheet of all of your records. This is how you get your own ISRC codes. This is how you get your own UPC codes. This is how you this is how you do content ID without releasing a record through a DSP. Like, there are so much nuance to this thing. Like, it is so much nuance. And I want to make sure that artists and producers are not being taken advantage of. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the main thing for me. And this is the way that I just remember being a new guy trying to get into this business and not being able to get any access to information. You know, this is like, you know, early internet time. You know, there was no information. There was nothing for me to be able to get at. There were no mentors that were available. You know? And I've been talking to Mike about setting up a mechanism for us to be able to do one-on-ones. I don't know what that looks like in terms of, you know, availability. We have to we're trying to work through that to see how we can do that, to make sure that we can, you know, also offer that type of one-on-one stuff where we can listen to people's music in real time and really, you know, give that dedicated feedback the way people really need to have it, and so that we can understand what folks are working with. Rock, I see you. So before we get out of here, I'm gonna play my my latest "Falling in Love with You." You know, this is Arkatech Beatz featuring Cody, of course, K-O-D-Y. I'm sorry, K-O-D-E-Y. Excuse me. And like I said, we'll be back here tomorrow. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and sharing the live.
Arkatech Beatz.
Peace, y'all. Richie, man, I appreciate